Hello once again. Welcome to episode 78 of the Weekly Harvest. My name is Chris Falcavage. You can call me Falco. Director of Game Day Operations, Community Relations with the Brandon Wheat Kings, in-arena voice of the team. He's Rob Mann, the radio voice of the team. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's definitely the dog days of summer, even though officially it is not actually summer in Canada yet, which I've always found weird. I think every Canadian knows that the seasons don't actually start when they officially start.
Even what are the seasons right now? Meanwhile, we are getting nothing but rain. Out in Ontario, they're getting a massive heat wave, and they've got a drought happening out near Alberta. Things are chaotic right now. Or frost warning.
I was going to say, I remember seeing that
That's what it was. It was a frost warning.
I think there was snow in Canmore not that long ago. It's wild. Seasons are a social construct.
It's absolutely insane. But here we are on a rainy Tuesday, and thought we'd fire up the old pod here because we wanted to talk to one of our newest Wheat Kings.
I remember somebody said once that we have no objective proof that today is Tuesday. We all just got told what day of the week it was, and we have to trust that somebody told it correctly. That was how I felt when you said episode 78 of the podcast. I have no internalization of what episode we're on.
Yeah, either do I. I got to open up the list every time and be like, what number are we? I'll tell you this, and we are very thankful that we are approaching the 20,000 download mark. That has nothing to do with streams, because podcasts are hard to track, of course, when it comes to streams across the various services, but almost 20,000 times. We're this close. We're just a couple hundred away. 20,000 times people have clicked the download button on our podcast. So appreciate everybody who's been doing that over the years. Today we wanted to get into talking to our newest Wheat King, Marcus Nguyen. Marcus Nguyen. We're going to get into the last name thing there, but it was great talking to Marcus. Before we get into that, Rob, last time we were on the pod, we were right before the Memorial Cup. It was actually just during, I think, was when it was starting, and we shared our thoughts about what we, were hoping might happen at the Mem Cup or what wouldn't happen. And lo and behold, it is Saginaw, the host team, who were the champions in a thrilling victory over the London Knights.
It's never difficult to root for the host team, I will say that, if that is the team you are rooting for coming in has been eliminated. So to see a team win on home ice, to see how happy they are, how happy their fans are, how happy the city is for them, that's easy to root for. So Saginaw winning, I think, was one that, well, unless you're a fan of the London Knights, was pretty agreeable to just about everybody. Once, of course, it was down to Saginaw and London, because part of me, as I said at the time, did want to see Moose Jaw succeed. It's always nice when the league succeeds as a whole. The fact that Moose Jaw won games and got into the into the medal round, I guess you'd call it, that's a win in and of itself for their first trip to the dance.
Yep, good for them. First time there. That's they did real good. They did real good for getting as far as they did. I was thrilled with the fact that it was those two in the final, because there's something about. It was even that's the same thing kind of here the year that Brandon hosted, when it was Calgary that knocked them out, the team that they had trouble with during the year, and then got them in that one game and was able to win, right? And here, in this case, it was a semifinal moving to the final, but for Saginaw to lose to the London Knights in the conference finals in the playoffs, then to lose to them in the round robin of the Mem Cup, to only have that one shot and to pull it off, it was incredible. And I know there's a lot of, maybe salty London fans who were then commenting online after about, well, the final should be a best of three, because I get it. They did have their number, but it didn't matter. It's the Memorial Cup. It comes down to that one game.
And that one stretch of time. What a dramatic fashion in which for it to end. I mean, you have, 20 seconds to go? The winner goes in. But London fans, I'll tell you this, if you're upset, if you're feeling like one got taken away from you, give it a year. That team will be back. Look at that roster. Look at how many of those guys are eligible to return and how many of those guys realistically probably will return.
If you're a London fan, you can say that honestly, man. every 2 out of every 3
yeah.
years. Like I don't know what it is about that franchise. Very well run there with the Hunters, but
But this year you can really see it coming.
incredible.
This year it's really, really prominent, I feel.
So, with that being said, congrats to Saginaw Spirit, the Memorial Cup champions. Moose Jaw, like I was saying last time, I wasn't like I was rooting against them. It's just when it's your first time there, I was gonna have to be that bitter guy, be like, not yet, not yet, maybe next time now. But congrats on the first championship, regardless. And you know what, the Moose Jaw fans, I had a lot of fun watching their social media, them welcoming back the team at all hours of the night, lining up. It reminded me of what we had here in 2016. Just that really deep run, the dedicated fan base, how it pulls the entire community together when you get into a situation like that. So, kudos to them. It was a fantastic run. But I'll tell you this, we are very much looking forward to night number 1 and getting a little bit of redemption, I think, against those same Moose Jaw Warriors that swept us in round 1.
And newest member of the Brandon Wheat Kings just might feel the same way. That's not always the case when you bring guys in trade, but unfortunately, Marcus Nguyen's Portland Winterhawks and the Brandon Wheat Kings do share a dubious similarity. So I think Marcus will have plenty of incentive, something we'll talk with him about, to give Moose Jaw a little bit of their own back on opening night.
That might just come up. Speaking of which, let's get into that right now. Here is our chat that we had just moments ago with the newest member of your Brandon Wheat Kings. Now, Marcus, before I even attempt the last name, I want to hear you say it because for Rob, a radio guy, and for me, the in-arena voice, we got to make sure that we get the actual name pronunciation right. So how do we say your last name?
So there's actually a couple ways you could say it. Just with, being in Portland the last 4 years, Nguyen was how Nick Merrick said it. So that's how everyone kind of knows me by. In the Vietnamese culture, you can say Nguyen, but you could use Nguyen.
So Marcus Nguyen or Marcus
Yeah.
Nguyen, also a great hockey name, right?
I was
Yeah.
going to say, that's an auspicious name for a hockey player. Like,
Yeah,
it's way too.
not too bad.
So Marcus, thank you for taking time out of your day and talking to us today. You've been in the league for a couple of years. You've seen this happen, I'm sure, with your teammates before, but let's take us back to that day when you found out that you were going to be coming here to Brandon. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was kind of caught me by surprise actually. So I was, just going on by my normal day, trained in that morning, and then was going for a skate that later that day, and I was actually getting in my car with a couple of my buddies, and we were carpooling together to the ice time, and I just get a phone call, Mike Johnston. I see the name on my phone, and I'm just kind of wondering. Mike never calls me, so I was wondering why he's calling me now, and I kind of I had an idea coming up. Just talked to my agent and stuff. I think everyone knew Portland had to make some moves, especially with the 20-year-olds. So Mike kind of just explained to me that he was sending me to a really good place. Brandon, they're going to be good next year. So I was really excited for that. He just kind of thanked me for everything I've done for the organization. And, I couldn't be happier to, hear that from him because, he's such a role model and like he, coached me for 4 years and I learned a lot from him. So, it was a good call and it was a good send off. And I'm glad I'm a Wheat King now.
So once the news was out there, once the trade was officially out in the world, I know you got a lot of texts from members of the Wheat Kings, including some you knew from your time in Portland, and we can come back to that. But what was it like just watching your phone explode after 1 o'clock Central Time came and went?
Yeah, it was a lot. A lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. It was crazy. I always you always see on social media like other guys getting traded and stuff around the league. So, it was my first time ever moving to different team during my career in the Dub. So, yeah, it was kind of crazy just looking at it and seeing how many people actually supported me and the fans back in Portland and how excited the Wheat Kings fans were. So, I'm pretty happy. I'm going to, to Brandon, and I just can't wait to get to play.
Now, I know one of those messages, by the way, was from Nick Johnson because he and I got a chance to talk a bit about it the day it happened. What was the
Yeah.
message he sent to you, and what has he told you about Brandon?
He was super pumped. He sent me a video. He was just saying how how great the place is Brandon and how great the guys are. So he said I'm gonna really enjoy it, and everyone's really welcoming. So I got a lot of text messages as well from the players on Brandon. So it was kind of a warm welcome for sure. So yeah, Nick was great. Johnny was great. He just told me how excited he was.
A couple years in the league now, you got to have a couple of memories, either versus Brandon here in or against Brandon there. What are some things that you know about the Wheat Kings so far?
Not too much, honestly. We play them once a year, so you only get to see them once. They came to Portland this past season. We kind of dominated that game, 11-1, I think it was. But the year before, we went to Brandon. That was a really fun road trip, just kind of seeing the different side of the league, and I enjoyed it a lot. The weather's a lot different for sure. A lot more snow, a lot colder, but. I'm Canadian too, so I love that stuff. And yeah, I don't know too much about Brandon. Nate texted me, said kind of just explain some things, and he was kind of just telling me how he loved it there. It's a little different from Portland for sure, but I'm excited for change, and I couldn't be happier.
I think we activated a repressed memory for Wheat Kings fans and staffers there talking about that game in Portland. I had generally tried to freeze that game out of my mind. It keeps
Yeah.
coming back every now and then, but I guess we have to pretend it didn't happen around here.
Yeah, no more of those.
That one just happens. And you kind of mentioned there, Portland is a little bit different than Brandon, but what you are going to find, of course, is a real hardcore hockey fan base that
Mhm.
loves the game of hockey. And when you talk about the climate, it is going to be a little bit different. But this is kind of
Mhm.
like the home of backyard and back pond hockey. Growing up in Calgary, right, Marcus? That's where you
Yeah,
grew up. Uh,
yeah. Calgary.
like playing outdoor rinks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I grew up always playing on the outdoor rinks, ODRs. So, that's been, whenever I try to come home for Christmas, I'm always trying to get in the snow because you don't get that in Portland at all. So,
Yeah,
And
classic.
speaking of Calgary, there's a lot of Alberta connections now on this Wheat Kings squad. How many guys did you know on the Wheat Kings before the trade over?
so I knew, obviously Rav and Johnny, knew Johnny before too. I was speaking, to Rylan Rorsma. He texted me the other day, or when I got traded. And, lots of guys. I don't know who else is from Alberta on the team. I haven't really checked, but and like a lot of guys have reached out, and I know Charlie Ellick. He's from Calgary too. So I see those guys a few times in the summers here and there at skates and stuff. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, the hockey world has so many insane crossing lines, and especially at the ages up until this point, you're always playing with those kids that are just either a year younger or a year older. Now,
Yeah.
Marcus, I know you're going into your 20-year-old year. How much of an appreciation do you still have for being in the league and looking at this, knowing that other kids when they're looking at the season, other ages, they can always think, yeah, there's always next year, but now this is your overage year. You have a goal, I'm sure, to come in and set and sort of expectations. But just overall, how does that feel for you, knowing that you have that in front of you?
Yeah, I'm super thankful. First of all, yeah, super thankful. I couldn't be happier to be where I am today, and just having the experience, and trying to bring that into Brandon next season, kind of help those young guys out and develop, whoever wants to learn, and I'm always there for that, and I'm pretty open about everything. So I just want to develop a good relationship, and I couldn't be more thankful for being in the league for this long, and it's the best junior league in North America. So, it's awesome playing night in, night out. So, yeah, I couldn't be more happier, and I'm excited to, go into my 20-year-old season and kind of, play for a chance at a pro contract.
One of the ways we can sometimes tell how much we're going to enjoy having a player in the organization is how upset the other team's fan base is when they've learned that they've traded that player. When we brought in Jaden Weens, we had a lot of Saskatoon Blades fans in our comments saying how much they were going to miss him. Same was true from when we brought in Mateo Michaels from Regina. The list goes on. And the same was true for you. As I go through Portland's social media, what I notice is a lot of Winterhawks fans seem really sorry to see you go. What was your relationship like with the fan base in Portland?
Yeah, the fans in Portland were awesome. We did a lot of community stuff, so we kind of had a good relationship with the season ticket holders and all that. And I think just being there for 4 years, it's they've known me my whole career there, so I couldn't thank them enough for supporting me and cheering us on every night. And yeah, it was really good. You get to see the different personalities, and it's super, super exciting to, go to another organization as well and, kind of play in front of a different fan base.
Well, I'm glad that you're used to doing community events because we certainly do a lot of those here as well.
Yeah,
Love giving
exactly.
back in the community. Before all, we just said that something came to my mind, and now I forgot what it was. So I'm gonna let you go the next one.
It's going to come back to you at the most inopportune time, too, isn't it? It's just going to be the way it always
I thought
happens.
about something, and then something else popped in. Anyway,
We don't script these, can you tell?
Yeah.
It's all from the heart. So I've
Yeah,
seen you play, of course.
oh, the
Marcus.
nicknames. No,
There we
Marcus,
go.
the nickname, because he brought it up. Fan base in Portland. I don't know what is with the nicknames, but you definitely had a few on there.
Yeah.
We won't go into all of them, but I believe Shorty King was one.
I saw that one, yeah, and I think I saw Marv.
Marv, where did that one come from?
Yeah, so everyone calls me Marv back home. All my friends, all my good buddies, and all my teammates as well. Like Portland was Marv for sure. To as my nickname, and I got that about when I was in first year Bantam. I think one of my good buddies, still to this day, he just started calling me Marv, and I don't know, it didn't really come from anything. Like I know Home Alone, the one robber's Marv, and I don't think that's what started it, but I think just Marcus Marv, I don't know. But ever since that, he started calling me it. Everyone else has just joined in. It's kind of just been a thing going around.
So if you get really good chemistry with one of the players on the Wheat Kings, do we go with the Wet Bandits as a line nickname? Is that no? We're not doing that.
No, you can do that for sure.
Good.
I mean, Home Alone's one of my favorite Christmas movies, so love that.
Classic, of course.
Yeah.
Now, the nickname Shorty King, I think we can pretty well guess where that one came from. 6 shorthanded goals last season, and you and I had talked about this a little bit. What do you do on the penalty kill that enables you to generate offense at a time where most people are just trying to keep the puck out of their own net?
Yeah, 100%. I think, the kill, you're down, man. So, I've learned over the years kind of just take pride in, obviously not letting them score the power play, but also, I like to anticipate plays. Like I like using my speed a lot. I'm pretty quick. So I like to read plays. Like if, this D man, I can see like the play before it happens and I can pick it off. And, once I get the puck, I, just let my speed take over, let my skating. So, that helps me a lot. And I'm fortunate enough to get the opportunity to, play on the kill in Portland. And, it's super fun. And I take as much pride as I do, 5-on-5 and power play as on the kill.
How much fun was it to play with Nate Danielson after the trade deadline?
It was awesome. Nate, just a great guy overall. He came in, I texted him when he got traded to Portland. I just kind of welcomed him. I think I was like the only guy he kind of knew but from before. So, just trying to welcome him in. And, he was a great guy from the start when he came in. Being new, it's different. It's changed, especially during the season. So I could see how uncomfortable it was. But, as the second half went along in playoffs, I got a chance to play with him on his wing. And, everyone knows how special he is. Such a good playmaker. He's a great skater, plays the 200-foot game well. He makes things happen. And, I tried to work hard and, try to help him and he tried to help me. So we kind of fed off each other like that. And I think playoffs kind of showed that.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy and he's pretty good at hockey as well, for sure.
We
Yeah,
did
not
happen
too
to
bad.
notice that during his time here. He's a pretty good
Yeah,
hockey player.
he's not too bad.
Yeah, when we were piecing together, when I was doing your highlight video that we made after we
Yeah,
acquired you, and looking through, and it was like, oh, look at that pass from Nate. Look at that pass from
yeah,
Nate.
yeah,
It was like,
yeah,
hey, we should get a guy like that, Nate Danielson. He's
yeah.
a pretty
I
good one
wonder
too.
if he's on the trade block.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously.
I think Steve Eiserman has some different ideas on that front.
Yeah,
He might help
yeah.
us out on that one. But I will say, when we put together that clip of your goals with the Winterhawks to get our fans hyped up, I did notice that there were 3 goals in a row against Prince George that Nate helped set up a playoff
Oh
hat
yeah,
trick
that was
for
yeah.
you. Where does that rank among your memories as a member of the Winterhawks?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely up there for sure. Yeah, I loved there's so many memories and moments. Especially that PG one for sure. Those goals. I don't know if that was a hat trick game or the game before, but or game after. And but that series was awesome. Just playing that deep in playoffs. There's 4 teams left in the league, and you get to be one of those teams. That's pretty special. And I think I learned a lot this year from our run, and kind of still stings coming up short for sure, but I'm excited to get a chance to one last crack at it for sure.
I love the fact that you're coming in with playoff experience, coming from a winning franchise, a franchise with a rich history, a franchise who we're going to get back to this, but also has a great looking jersey and a great
Oh,
logo,
yes.
much like the one you're
Yeah,
also about to put on. So we got
yeah,
that in common. But also, not to make this on a bit of a sore point, but you might have the same kind of little bit of a redemption as we do, as the Moose Jaw Warriors swept us. Although in round
mhm.
one, we didn't get that nice long run, but you had to encounter that very strong Warrior team in the finals. Looking into next year, you're going to have them now in your division. Are you a little bit
Yeah,
more excited to get back at the Warriors now?
yeah, for sure. Before Moose Jaw this past year, it was Seattle. They came back that series when I was 17. The next year it's always you're hunting for that team that kicked you out, and Moose Jaw is definitely on that list for sure. And I think going into it to Brandon, where you guys you unfortunately lost to them, and we did as well. So I think that next season it's always like, oh, you want to beat them that first game you play them. And yeah, it was Seattle for us when I was 17, and then Kamloops when they beat us out. And yeah, I have pretty good record at comeback games after the playoff run.
We won't give you too many more cracks at Seattle and Kamloops, I'm afraid, but
Yeah,
I can tell you we're probably going to give you 8 more shots at Moose Jaw next season.
yeah. No, I'm excited for it.
That'll feel good, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
you brought up the playing deep in the playoffs. And I know you've had 4 good years of memories in Portland that cannot have been easy to leave, but how does it feel knowing that you're going to an organization that is entering a window where they want to go deep in the playoffs and seem to have the horses to do it?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's fun, and I couldn't be happier to be on that. The squad next season, and I think knowing that you're going in to a good team, and knowing they want what you want. They want to win a championship. That's pretty special, and I think that's what I kind of learned from that last year, that run in Portland. It was the mindset from the the summer, like you're going to win a championship, and that was a mindset the whole time. And I think that's what I have right now. I think about the last season, but also I'm looking forward to this next one, and I couldn't be happier, and I'm so excited to get started.
It's not going to be very long now. It's hard to believe we're already in the second half of June. Like, man,
Yeah.
this summer's flying by. So basically, we got now July and then August, and then everybody starts to report. So right now, Marcus, you're back home in Calgary, just kind of being with the family and stuff. What's the summer plan here for you, though?
Yeah, summer plan. Same thing as mostly all the past summers. Just kind of train, skate. I know I have a family vacation to the Dominican on the 29th, but I'm not too sure if I'm going yet because just got to wait on some development camps and then fall camps. So I know my agent's working hard on that, and I think pretty much just again bigger, stronger, faster. That's what everyone says, and I think another thing I'm really working on this summer is definitely my mental game for sure.
Bigger, stronger, faster. Although, from what I've heard and what I've seen, you got faster down. That was the first thing Marty Murray and I talked about when we were building up to the article on the trade. He
Yeah.
mentioned your foot speed right away. How important is that to your game?
It's everything for me. I like being quick. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm a little on the smaller side, so I'm trying to grow stronger as well. But I think being quick is everything. If you're evading checks, you're getting out of the corners faster, and turning on defenders that can't keep up with you. You're gonna win races and win those battles, and you're gonna beat them to the net.
Are you the kind of guy that is hard to keep you off the ice? That like every couple days you just want to be around there? Or are you okay with putting the skates away for a little bit and focusing on other kind of training?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of both. I know what I need. I know my body well, so I love being on the ice. I'll stay on the ice an hour after practice and just working on stuff. I like working out, doing extra stuff after, practice or whatever it is. So, but I also like just kind of getting away from the rink as well. Like on some days I'll kind of know that, oh, maybe I should just not like stay at the rink a couple hours after. I should just go home, kind of mentally reset and give my body and mind a rest.
If you've got a day to yourself away from the rink and you know you're not going to have the skates on, you know you're not practicing, what do you do to sort of unwind?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. I like playing other sports, just kind of keeping active, not tiring your body out. But um, back in Portland during the season, like obviously nice weather, so we'd go golfing and stuff. Play tennis, pickleball. Um, yeah, just kind of do whatever you can, just kind of get away from hockey and the mindset of that. And I think it's good to have a balance between, home and the rink and all that because it can get pretty hefty.
If we were going to look at your Spotify playlist, who are some artists that are going to be popping up there? What kind of stuff are you?
Um, I like everything to be honest with you. I'm a big country fan, just being from Calgary and the Stampede, Alberta.
Right.
I love Jason Aldean. Morgan Wallen's good always. There's so many country artists that are good. I'm actually going to Luke Combs this summer. He's coming to Calgary, so that should be pretty fun. But also I like rap before games, rock and roll, Nickelback. I just like a mix of everything pretty much.
An Alberta guy liking Nickelback, that feels like a given. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's a
yeah,
must, I
that's
think.
that's not just an idle question, by the way. There's a reason we bring that up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So start to think about this. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but we do custom goal songs here. So after you score,
Oh.
you get your song that's going to be played. So you don't have to tell us right now, unless you
Hmm.
immediately, if you're like, no, no, I'm telling you, I want this song, then we can make it happen right now. But you can think
Yeah.
about it when we get to camp. Yeah, we talked to all the players, and we just started this last season, had a lot
Hmm.
of fun with it, and we're definitely going to bring it back. So
Yeah.
yeah, if it's country, if it's rap, if it's rock, I guess we're gonna find out. But think about what song you want to, what you want to hear, and what you think is gonna get the fans pumped up after you do find the back of the net here for us.
Yeah, perfect. I'll have to take these next couple months and kind of just
Did you guys
think
ever do
about
that
that
in
song.
Portland or anything?
We did.
What was
We
your
did it last year, or maybe the past 2 years actually. Yeah.
what was your song there?
Last year was Country Girl,
Luke Bryan, right? That's that one.
Okay,
and then
I
Yeah,
like
like
it.
and
like
then
that
the
country
yeah
girl shake it for me. That one.
yeah that one,
Okay, yeah. I'm
and
not a
then the
big
year
country,
before,
but
yeah,
I
the year
blacked out on
before,
full songs last year. I heard 11 of them, so I kind of just froze them out.
what was it?
yeah, I get. The year before was One Kiss by Dua Lipa.
That
Yeah,
would
so
not have guessed that
I
person.
like everything.
Yeah, you're really all over the map there with those two
Yeah,
markets.
Yeah,
just whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
guys will say they like everything, and then it'll be like one or two subgenres. That was a pretty full range of music there.
Yeah, no, it's good. I don't. I'm not picky at all with anything. So
Awesome. Well, think about some ideas, and yeah, that'll be one of your homework assignments for when you do get here.
perfect,
We'll be talking
perfect.
about. So with the jersey, with the logos, I love myself a good logo and a good jersey. I'm wearing our Wheat City Walleye hoodie right now. We did like our rebrand last year. Out of all the jerseys that you've worn growing up, you must have been a part of some pretty fun teams, or even like some creative ones. Besides Portland, what are some of the cool jerseys that you're able to pull on?
I think my first year U18 midget, I wore like this dark. We were the Calgary North Stars. So it was like a dark green, like jersey with like white accents, stripes and stuff, and had like gold stars. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just kind of like the Minnesota North Stars
Yeah, yeah,
throwback,
yeah.
something like that. That was a really cool jersey. And then I played edge for 6 games just like before the COVID season when I was 16, and the maroon and gold, that's pretty neat. And yeah, I've worn some pretty cool jerseys.
What was your favorite Winterhawk jersey?
Definitely the first one when I was 16
Yeah.
with the Blackhawk logo.
It's hard to top the first jersey you put on in the
Oh,
Western
yeah,
League too.
100%.
That is just that's always going to have a special place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still remember like that moment walking into the dressing room before that first game and seeing your game jersey hung up in the stall?
Yeah, it was really crazy. It was in Tri-City. I still remember it. Yeah, just we were wearing red that day, and just seeing that logo, the name bar in my stall is pretty cool. And I think when you experience that first time, it's something you won't forget.
Another thing about Portland jerseys that always sticks out to me is the variety of numbers there. You guys really go a long way down the number chart. You were wearing, I believe it was 72 with the
Yeah.
Winterhawks. What's the story behind the number there?
Yeah, so I wore 17 all my life, and then when I got to Portland, I kind of want to just, switch it up, stick out, and my mom's born in 1972, so I kind of decided to take that 72, stamp it on the back. Um, so yeah, it's a pretty special number, and I've worn it ever since I was 16, so I guess I'll stick with it to end my career.
I was gonna say, I guess we can just kind of pencil that in right now, then, that because we don't
Yeah, and
currently
I
have
don't
that.
think
So
too many guys, certainly we don't have any returning guys coming in at 72.
nope,
Yeah.
Someone decides
that's
to
all
pull
for
a
Marcus. All
real
right.
fast one on us.
Hey Marcus, while you were talking to any of the Wheat Kings, have they brought up by chance yet, giving you the heads up about any Wheat King traditions, like for say the head bump? Do you know about this? Have you seen this?
I do. I've seen it. Nate was actually talking to me about it one time. I was just asking him, why do you guys do the head bump after each goal? And then my best friend, he plays on the Okotoks Oilers. I think they do it as well. So, um, yeah, it's a lot different. I think I'm gonna have to get used to it for sure, but I don't know like the story behind it or at all.
Well, there is a video that we made. This thing started back in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm,
So it's been going on for
okay.
like almost 40 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a true Wheat King tradition for whatever reason. But we'll get into that when you get here. But yeah, there's lots of fun little stuff that I'm sure you're gonna learn to love about our city. When are you gonna be getting down here for the first time? Is it gonna be around camp time in late August, maybe?
Yeah, it will be around late August, I think. Yeah, I'm just super excited to get down there, kind of see the facility, see the room, meet my billets and stuff. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks a lot nicer than what you were, in the visitor dressing room. When you
Yeah.
get to
Oh,
see
I
the big
bet.
stuff here in the Keystone,
That is
you'll
a
be pretty blown away.
universal comment from players who get traded. They're not expecting the junior dressing room to be as nice as it is, and then they get in there,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, this is different."
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear though.
Yeah. All right, Marcus. Hey, man, thank you again for taking time out of your day here to talk to us. We really do appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. I had an awesome time just talking about Wheat Kings and my career, and I can't say enough about how excited I am to get down there and start the season off on the right foot.
Well, we're really excited to have you. We've talked in the past about there are some 20-year-olds that when we get, you wish that you had them for more than the 1 year, but at
Yeah.
the same time, they're not that same person. So, for you to come in and already talking to you, even this was a few minutes, I can tell I'm excited. But for you to,
Mhm.
to have the right kind of mindset to be coming in here, It's going to be a great year, man. So all the best this summer as you get into your training and enjoy. Hopefully you get to go on that family holiday. As much
Yeah.
as
Oh,
cool as it
yeah.
is getting invited to NHL camps and all that or other pro camps, at the same time, spending some time
I
in the Dominican with your
mean,
family.
there's not
Yeah.
really a bad option on this one,
I mean,
is
A or
there?
B, right? A
There's
or
no
B.
wrong answer to this question.
Yeah. Either way, it'll be a good week.
Whatever you do, have fun, and then we'll see you later this summer.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks again to Marcus for taking some time out today at his home in Calgary. I'm excited for him. I really am.
Yeah. It's not every day you bring in a 20-year-old and you're immediately saying to yourself, not only is this guy going to be here, but he's going to elevate the group. This kid is fast. He's tenacious. He can shoot. One thing that both Nick Johnson and Red Ravendal brought up about him is he's not easy to play against. This is a guy who will finish checks hard despite his stature, and everything I've heard about him, everything I remember about him, he comes across a little bit like Caleb Hadland. And who wouldn't want to add another Caleb Hadland to their roster, especially a Caleb Hadland coming off a 24-goal, 58-point season? He would have been one of the Wheat Kings' leading scorers last year, and that was at a time, and I think Marty Murray pointed this out, and it's critical that we bring this up. He wasn't playing top-tier power play minutes for Portland. He's not the guy coming over the boards on PP1. He's having to find other ways to put up points. He had more shorthanded goals and power play goals this year. He's going to get power play opportunities here. This could be a massive pickup for the Wheat Kings.
And in the end, didn't have to give up a whole lot for it in trading a prospect that wasn't going to report here anyway.
Yeah, that's the real trick with the United States draft is you are drafting players who have a lot of voices in their ear and a lot of pulls in different directions. It's probably the biggest weakness of that selection process is you are competing with not only the NCAA, but with just straight up geographical restrictions. Kids in Texas, going away to play in Brandon, Manitoba. Not everybody is as sanguine about that as Mateo Michaels and his family are. Not everybody wants to have that journey and have that burden of distance on their friends and family. So sometimes you're going to draft players who are good enough to play in the league, as the Wheat Kings felt Reed Brown was, and obviously the Winterhawks did as well, who aren't going to be a fit for your geographical location, with nothing against your city, nothing against your team, nothing against any member of it, just the sheer geography involved. That said, if you can select players that you can then turn into other assets, I mean, realistically, if you had this happen with every player the Wheat Kings ever drafted out of the U.S. draft, if every one of those players accepted a trade elsewhere in the league for a player as good as Marcus Nguyen, you'd be thrilled. So this is not a failure of scouting on the Wheat Kings' parts, I don't think. This is a success of scouting and a success of management.
Yeah, no, it was an absolutely great trade. It's a great trade when you look at it like that. You had to make a move, and that's a move that could benefit and even that prospect. I mean, there's another option, right? So, and it is closer. So, we'll see how that plays out. But excited to bring somebody who is obviously as mature and and intelligent as Marcus. So he's going to bring a whole lot to the room.
Yeah, he was a fun guy to talk to. He was really easy to deal with, and I noticed that kind of right away when I first spoke to him immediately following the trade. Well-spoken kid, easy to deal with. I know Nick Merrick in Portland felt the same way, and Perry Bergson, who is always such a good barometer for how prospects are going to be and how players are going to be at that side of the job. Perry's always such a good litmus test for those guys. If he likes them, chances are we're going to like them, and Perry likes Marcus.
It's going to be a very busy summer around here as we have got a lot of construction currently undergoing in the Keystone. Maybe you've seen the post or heard about it, but the entire building is being gutted with the seats, and the brand new seats are being installed. So just a heads up that if you wanted to have one of the collectible red seats that once upon a time was in the old Winnipeg Arena, of course, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then moved over here into the Keystone. So a lot of history in those red seats. The Keystone's doing what they're calling the Walk-Up Wednesdays. So on Wednesday, you can literally pull your vehicle right into the Keystone, and just it's $1 per seat, and they're kind of like in blocks of 5. So $5, you can get 5 seats. They still got a couple of thousand in the room down there, and there's still a few more thousand to be removed after the high school grads are done in there here in the next few weeks. But just a heads up on the seat arena progression if you want to go and get one of those red beauties. Like I know a number of my friends have, Rob. They building these like new man caves and updating this their little setup. It looks pretty cool with the old red arena seats.
It's a slice of hockey history. Part of me is very tempted to say that what should happen is a local junior A or junior B team should reach out to the Keystone Center and then use those seats in their arena so we can keep them in circulation in the hockey world. At this point, we're 40 years into their lifespan. That's probably not practical. But part of me does really like the idea of some of those seats ending up in, say, Verdun so that the hockey journey may continue.
The Verdun seats are way nicer than
Oh, I know. Like I said, not practical.
Not practical at all. But they are very cool and definitely a piece of history. Actually, I was talking to the Manitoba Sport Hall of Fame just a couple weeks ago, and about some upcoming, weeking ideas that we had that we're going to go down the path with them. And we're talking about the seats and the fact that I know that in their Hall of Fame setup right now, they have a couple of the seats from the old Bomber Stadium and from the old Winnipeg Arena, but it's the blue ones. And when I told her that we actually have the red ones here, they even know that's where the red ones went. They remember, of course, the old multicolored in the Winnipeg Arena. That's where the red ones went. Like, yep, we've been using them for the last 20-some years, so now they're going to have a couple on display in Winnipeg. So
perfect.
Some very historical seats.
It is, as I said, a slice of hockey history in Manitoba, so the Sports Hall of Fame is a nice fitting place for it. And I like the way that the connections between that Hall of Fame and the Wheat Kings are slowly starting to deepen, because when we talk about hockey in Manitoba, not really any team has a deeper history in this province than the Wheat Kings do.
No, when we were getting into that conversation, there's, when you walk in, if anybody's been there, downtown Winnipeg, it's a great little spot they have. But unfortunately, there is not a whole lot of Wheat King history there on the walls. So that's when I walked through, and being the Wheat King guy, I was like, man, there's not a whole lot here. So we started talking to them, and then there was in the articles, but you really got to kind of dig. So anyway, that is going to change, because after we had that talk, and being the only, of course, WHL franchise once again in the province of Manitoba, and properly celebrating that, it'll be great. So if you do make a trip there in the next few months, hopefully you're going to see some more Wheat King stuff. But it's an incredible little walk through, and just seeing. And what's really neat too is there are a ton. I'll give them this. They have all of their inductee names, lots of former Wheat King names, and even just people from Westman, of course, that you can appreciate and you can look at.
Speaking of Hall of Fame inductees taking a short step away from hockey, but still hockey adjacent, Marty Murray inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame just this past weekend.
Absolutely incredible, eh? The old two-sport athlete, Marty Murray.
Yeah, hang on, I'm going to have to look. It was at the Oil Dome All-Stars, I think it was. I'm going to quickly triple-check that.
I'll let you pull that up. Meanwhile, some of our fans were a little bit confused. They're like, "Do you guys have a typo? Did they mean to say the hockey?" No, we said what we said. Marty is a two-sport athlete.
The 1990 Oil Dome All-Star team. Awesome. Marty Murray, part of that group, and they are now officially part of the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame.
So yes, congratulations to multi-sport athlete Marty Murray. Next up on the busy schedule events in the summer, it's going to be the release of the 24-25 WHL schedule. And I know that we're having some fun with this, so I'm going to tell you right now, Wheat King fans, we will announce it, of course, in the traditional way. You'll get your nice graphics showing all the home dates and the written article. It's also going to be a fun video that's going to be following that as well. But the release of the schedule, Rob, always a whole lot of fun, because then people can properly plan their winter.
Yeah, there will be dates that you will want to circle on the calendar. There will be dates of American teams, for instance, coming back to the Keystone Center. Of course, you knew that, year over year it changes, and you'll get to see when exactly that happens, which games you can get the most excited for, when our latest exceptional status player is going to be making his first appearance at Westoba Place. This is going to be an interesting season, because I'll tell you right now, last year's schedule was necessarily divisional heavy, because of course you had Winnipeg moving out, and then all of a sudden you get the same 4 opponents crammed into your schedule to make up for 10 additional games that you would have had against the Winnipeg Ice. That's not a complication or a hurdle this year. Things are going to look a little bit different. So you're going to see a little bit more of a variety of opponents. The divisional alignment, as the WHL pointed out after last season, is going to change very slightly, and we'll get to see how that shakes out when the new schedule comes out.
And we can't tell you anything yet, but I am going to tell you this. At least the last game of the year is not going to be on a Thursday.
Yeah, that was... And you and I had talked about this, how many Thursday games we had.
It was, and again, it's...
I'd never seen one before.
When the schedule is done, and then a team moves, and they're your divisional opponent, like you said, you got 10 matchups against that one team, the schedule was done. So all of a sudden, yeah, I get it. There was a lot of weirdness about our year last year. Very glad that's in the rearview mirror, and our fans can properly have a normal schedule here.
Winnipeg finding ways to thumb their noses at the Wheat Kings without even being Winnipeg anymore was really a tremendous achievement.
Really. But very excited for when we do get to announce this. I think people are going to be very excited to see it. Like I said, to be able to plan some of the big ones. It's going to be an exciting year. So that's kind of next up. And then after that, then it's time for the NHL draft.
Yes, and the heat around that is growing hotter. I will say more and more lists. As you get closer to the draft, the lists start more closely to resemble the way the actual draft plays out. And I will say the closer we get to the draft, the more scouts seem to be finding places for Charlie Ellick in the first round. Like, for example, Craig Button, who is TSN's head scout, during his rankings throughout the year, he kind of had Charlie in the mid to late second round. But this mock draft that he put out just yesterday has Charlie going in the first round of the Dallas Stars. And Bob McKenzie's most recent rankings had Charlie 28th. So there's definitely a possibility that for the second year in a row, we see a Wheat King donning a new sweater on day one.
Regardless, it's going to be a pretty exciting time, of course, for him. And then, a couple other Wheat Kings may or may not hear their names. But much like the WHL draft, once it's all said and done, it's great to have your name called. But the list of guys who are then invited to developmental camps and can still make an impression, that's when all the real work is going to take place. But still a very exciting time. Very cool to hear a Wheat King name called. Good luck to Charlie as they head down to the Sphere in Vegas. What a great setting.
Oh, I know.
How incredible.
That's what a place to have your name selected. And again, for Charlie, we've talked about this. He's going to be part of that last batch of players to be able to say that for quite some time. So that's a really special thing for him in a really special location. It's going to be a wonderful weekend.
I'm wondering how that's going to pan out going forward.
Yeah, I'm a traditionalist with the draft, and I'm a nerd for the draft. So obviously I like the idea of the singular setting. I like the idea of 32 general managers crammed together on a floor bouncing ideas off each other, because that's when the weird stuff happens as far as trades go. But for the NHL's own pocketbook keeping sense, and we talked about things being practical versus things being emotional. Practically, it is probably easier to do over Zoom. I mean, can you imagine the WHL having to do a live draft, picking a host city every year? Bedlam. It'd be complete bedlam.
It used to happen. It was Calgary.
Imagine if they had to pick a different one every year, though.
They had to pick a different one, yes. That would be something else. But when they used to do the dub draft in person, it used to be like the big room in Calgary. And we'd all be sitting back here waiting to hear what the table's doing out there. So
might be easier the way we did things this year.
Maybe a little bit. All right, so that's going to do it for this week. I think we're probably going to talk to you next week. There's going to be something to do a podcast around.
Yeah, I get the sense that we might not have as long of a layoff as we did last time.
But we'll figure out the podcast next week. We will talk to you then. Until then, have yourself a good week. He's Rob. I'm Falko. Cheers.